Welcome to another edition of the Parents Lounge podcast and Fade Music. Yes. Hey, everybody. It's the middle of summer, and I just got back from a vacation with children, so we'll chat about that.
Those two things don't go together.
No, not at all. And I'm joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Jason Gowan.
Hello.
Hey, buddy, we haven't talked much because I've been traveling with children, and you have been holding down the fort while I've been gone. But I'm kind of looking forward. I got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight.
Well, I'm glad. I had an incident today in a Walmart where somebody said, "Hey, you're Jamie Kaler, right?" And I have never been more offended in my whole life.
Honestly, it's a huge compliment to me, so I'll take it. I had somebody.
Yeah, because we look so much alike. I was just like. And wrong guy, and they said to me, they're like, "So are you here from California?" And I was like, I live here, and so they swapped who we are.
I was in Boston, and somebody was like, "You look really familiar. Are you an actor?" And I was, then you're like, "I am," and then they go,
"Was it your wife?"
Yeah, it was actually my wife, and I said, "I am," and she goes, "No, you're not. You're a parent. You're a stay-at-home dad for 2 kids." And I go, "Oh, that hurts. Thank you." And then it always ends up this way where they go like, "What have I seen you in?" And I go, "You don't want to list credits," and it's like it's kind of a pain in the ass. And then eventually they go, "Oh no, you look like my cousin Phil," and you go, "Oh, that's how it is."
I knew you from Shake It Up.
That's true. Young Zendaya and Bella Thorne. We have a great show for you guys tonight. We have Kate Mulligan is with us. Celia Behar is back. So she is, of course, a licensed therapist. So we are taking live questions from people who want free therapy. I have some very serious questions about my wife and my relationship, and I'm going to ask her. We'll get some stuff squared away. So free therapy. If I could go wrong.
Yeah. You okay?
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
And we, of course, have our very special guest, Mr. Sandy Danto. He's one of my fave comics. He's a great dad, a great comic, big Comedy Store guy. And we got a lot to chat about. So well, here's the deal. I got back from vacation, 13 days with my children and my wife on the road, 5 different locations, 6 bags. We slept 4 to a room pretty much every night, and we changed.
That is no vacation, my friend.
Not for me. My 2 kids had the greatest vacation ever. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a little cocktail. We're going to chat about so-called summer vacations. At least they're cheap this summer. That's not a big deal. So we'll chat about that. We have a fantastic show. So we're going to give you 90 seconds while we play our opening titles to go mix yourself a drink and then come back. Sandy and Kate are already in the green room and ready to rock and roll. And without further ado, hit it! We could have homes on separate coasts, go dive in Greece with squids. Could have been so bleeping rich, but instead we had kids. They won't smile for a photo, they won't eat the food we choose. That's why we're heading to the Parents Lounge to drown ourselves in booze. Every day we're more exhausted, we haven't slept in years. They hit me in the nuts so bad, my eyes filled up with tears. And yes, we'd like to fake our death and go off of the grids, but the truth is we are softies and we truly love our kids. So join us every Tuesday night to laugh at all our pain. Evening in the Parents Lounge is the cure to staying sane. Welcome, everybody. It's so funny. Everyone's a little low key. It's got that summertime vibe to it. It's like a Lana Del Rey song being acted out by four parents who really don't have any time. So,
Malina's wearing a top.
please
Oh, I
welcome
know.
our.
It looks like I'm not. I always
It's
like the
close.
illusion of being
Let me
topless.
introduce our guest. For the love of God, Kate Mulligan's always here. She's kind of our resident mom. One of my fave comics. We did a show recently, and it was funny because we got up, and there was a ton of people that all we did was just tell horrible stories about our children, and it made me laugh so hard. Sandy Danto is here. Sandy, I'm so glad we can finally get you in here, man.
Thank you. Yeah, me too. This is
Welcome.
since lockdown.
Yeah, I know, dude. It's so funny too because we've been texting, and I was like, "Hey, come do the show," and you're like, "Yeah, I'm in." And then, like, literally 5 minutes before the show, this is why it's so funny. It's a parenting show, and it's all fly by the seat of your pants because 5 minutes before, I got a text from Sandy that said, "Hey, really quick, my wife's asking me how long I'm going to be on this thing because I got to help put the kids to bed."
Yeah, for sure.
And so I go, "Well, just give me a hard out." He's like, "If I'm not out by 7:30, I may be divorced. I'm not sure what's going to happen."
You know, it's funny because I'm usually like, I got to be out the door by 7:15 to make it to the show. And tonight I'm like, I'm just doing a live stream. I'll be here. I don't have to go anywhere. I'll just be. And it's like, well, how long are you going to need?
Yeah.
So
Always something, isn't it? Always something.
Never not.
First of all, Sandy, you have a name that is like it's in a category with like Lenny Bruce. Like you're gonna be a legend.
No, thank you.
Sandy Danto, Lenny Bruce, Sandy Koufax. I mean, it's just like a real old timey name. I really like it.
It's of that like Mort Saul era where like he's opening hits like him, then Henny Youngman, and then Rudy Valley gets up and does a set. I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm saying?
He's gonna be big in them moving pictures.
Yeah, or Sandy, you completely missed your era and you're gonna not be anybody. So good luck.
think you hit the nail on the head with the latter.
That's his next album. It's going to be Man Out of Time because he has the name of the Rat Pack, but then he shows up and he looks like Belushi from Animal House, and like, wait, something.
Yeah. Well, when you get spotted, so they get spotted as each other. Apparently, when you get spotted, they like, we loved you in Animal House.
All the time. My first job in LA, I worked at National Lampoon pretty much on looks alone. I got the job.
That's amazing.
They hired me.
I
I don't seem to be an intern. And then when I got there, they're like, "Oh, you're hired."
Yeah, you're a regular now.
Yeah.
So, Sandy, tell people real quick. You have two.
7.
Right? Actually, we have the same. Like we're all the same except for Crazy Pants Magoo over there, who has twins, and 2 kids is more than enough. I think.
I didn't ask for them; they just happened.
How many, Jason? How you have twins and then others, or just twins?
I have twin 3-year-old sons and a 6-year-old boy. So I have no soul left.
That's a tough. I mean, you're like, we just want to have 2. We're going for that second one, and boom, twins.
Yeah.
Well, it was an oops. We weren't even planning on the 2.
You weren't planning on the 1.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was an oopsie.
By the way, anytime anybody says it was an oops, it was a that turned into an oops. Okay, so let's not forget the part.
It was more like a
positive spin on that.
You're talking about the sex part, right, Mulligan?
Yes.
You're talking about the sex part.
Yes, but I like that Jason said it was more like it. Yeah.
It was like it was like good morning. Why not? That's what it made.
Sandy, are you done having kids, do you think?
Yeah.
It's such a
Hard
rude
yes.
question, but hard yes. Okay.
Hard yes.
But like,
I
has
think-
anything been put in place to prevent more children coming, though? That's the
Not
thing.
yet, but my mother-in-law is constantly offering me a snip gift, and she's like, "Have you talked about a snip gift in your act yet?" And I'm like, "Are you just offering me an iPad to get a vasectomy so I'll talk about it on stage?"
Wait, you absolutely have to.
By the way, I'm writing down the term snip gift. I'd never heard of it. I've heard of push gift, right? There's a push gift.
Push present,
Push
yeah.
present, yeah. They
Push
like
present.
the
Have the
alliteration.
alliteration.
Yeah.
Yeah. Snip gift. I've never heard of that. So they're rewarding you for getting a vasectomy?
A snip stocking. She's gonna fill a stocking.
You know, most grandparents are like, "When are you gonna?" My mom and my mom's brother, my uncle, were like, when are you going to start working on the third? When the baby was like 6 weeks old.
Oh.
And my wife's mother is like, when are you going to get your vas deferens severed? So it just tells me that she didn't want me to have anything to do with her daughter in the first place.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, I am more than familiar with that.
To be fair, so me and my wife dated in high school. We broke up and then we got back together 10 years later. And I'd been doing comedy, and my mother-in-law Googled me. And the first picture that comes up when you Google me, I'll put it on my phone.
we should.
And
I should.
show the screen. But it's a picture, a headshot I took that I got scammed by an agent that saw me at the Ha Ha Comedy Cafe, the old one with the superhero murals of the owner. And I got scammed into taking these headshots. And this is the first image. This is one of them. This is the first image that comes up. They're like, we need you doing like a character-y look. And I can do this thing where I like, it's not like crossing my eyes, but it's called strabismus, when one of your eyes just looks in one direction at all times. And so my wife's mother Googled me, and that was the first image that came up. And she's like, Sally, you can't date him. He has strabismus. And I'm like thinking to myself, when she told me the story, I was like, I don't have strabismus. But I was like, you know that you know me. Like, we spent time together. I mean, granted, it was like 10 years ago, but I wasn't cockeyed then. You don't just develop a cockeye. You either...
I mean, it can come on suddenly.
Would it? I don't know enough about ophthalmology.
I'm talking out of my butt. I have no idea.
You know what? You might be right. I don't know, but I just, I know I do have a friend that does have it. If he's not wearing his glasses, his eye looks to the right. His left eye looks to the right. And
it's by the way, Jamie and I are not laughing at people having that. We're laughing at how adept you are at doing it. Like, you are really good at it.
So I went, we were trying to find a picture of you to put on the little promo to say Sandy Danto. And I saw that photo, and in the back of my head, I'm like, does he have a cross eye? Like, you do it so well. And then, so I was like, but I don't remember seeing him with a cross eye. And so I started looking at other photos, and I go, oh, no, he faked it for that photo. By the way, that photo's like a one sheet. That would be like 40-year-old virgin, although at that point it was 25-year-old virgin or whatever it was. But you were.
Sandy, do you know Andrew Santino?
Of course.
Okay, so Santino's first headshots when we were coming up, he's one of my best pals from back in the day. He purposefully got himself a farmer's tan and then took a picture on a tractor, basically making that same face with his shirt off. So he was sunburned in the shape of a wife beater, basically. And he's just like on a tractor, like looking off. Strabismus, did I say it right? Strabismus. Yeah. It's really good. Really good.
I know Santino really well. He's super funny.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, for your first headshot, no. You're trying, but if you're already established and then that's your album cover, gold.
So funny.
Solid gold.
Oh.
Dude, I think that's hilariously funny.
Also, why does your wife's mother have such a great vocabulary? She goes vas deferens and strabismus.
She's a clinical psychologist, so maybe people come in and talk about their vas deferens and their vision.
They're leading in that with therapy with that.
So, was there any?
You never know what causes people's traumas.
Yeah, you never.
That's true. You're right.
When you were in high school with your wife, was there ever like, I'm going to go be a comic, or was that not even on the table at the time? You were just goofing off and the class clown.
I think, I would say there's a good faction of comics who weren't the highest in the self-confidence department when they were in high school. So I feel like I always wanted to do that, but I grew up in an insular judgmental Jewish community, like an affluent type Jewish community, where you pretty much were only allowed to say doctor, lawyer, or business.
Mm.
And so it was just basically like I was in the closet with comedy, and I didn't come out of the closet until like midway through college.
Listen, I was the same. I was in an Irish community. I had a choice to be a cop, a Navy guy, or a bartender. Those were the three. That was it. And I was in the closet as
And
a.
you've played all three.
Yeah,
You played all three.
Wait, you did two of them as actual jobs. You just never were a police officer.
No,
That
I
we
played
know
a
of.
fake cop, and yeah. But yes, but yeah, I get that too because I was the same in high school. I was like, I would watch like Richard Pryor or somebody and go, like, to me that was so like, oh my gosh, is that even possible? Now you do a comedy club and some woman comes up who's like 85 years and goes, oh, I just took a comedy class and I'm doing my first stand-up set this week. And you're like, back when we were, I was like,
Listen, when I was coming up,
Bruce.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
those
when I was coming up on Sandy Danto, whew,
you're like, ooh, it's crazy. But yeah. So now everybody does it, you know. But then it was kind of like this, like I remember getting the first on stage. The first time was the Comedy Store in La Jolla, and I was like shaking.
Jamie, do you remember when you would listen to the Sandy Danto LP? Oh boy, those were the,
It
those
was
were the
him,
days.
Jack Benny, and I remember it was Gracie Allen before George Burns, and they really, okay.
I remember the duo album you did with Red
Sandy
Skull.
Danto Radio Hour.
Yeah, there you go. Come on, guys, all ships at sea.
Brought to you on RKO Broadcasting Network.
So you reconnect. How did you reconnect? Was it the 10-year reunion? What happened?
No, I was doing that. She moved to New York after college, and I was doing that thing. I'd been out in LA for 10 years Actually, no. I'd been out in LA for like 6 years, 7 years. And I was doing that thing where I was like, moving to New York will solve all my problems. If I just moved to New York, then all the things that didn't go right for me in LA with auditions and getting discovered at showcases, that won't happen in New York.
Yeah.
And
how'd that go?
To be honest with you, I was like, New York's going to solve all my problems. It did not solve a single one of my professional problems.
But
Me and my wife did reconnect and did long distance, and she eventually moved out here, even though I wanted to move there. And it did solve all my personal life problems. So
there we go.
Yeah.
So because we have you for such a short period of time, we better jump right to kids. All of a sudden, you're married, you're a comic, your mother-in-law's like, you married a comic? What the heck? Kids right out of the chute?
Well, my mother-in-law at first was really had a concerted effort, like a planned attack. She got my wife's dad and my wife's brother to try to talk her out of this.
No,
Like,
Sandy.
When she told them that we were dating seriously, my wife's mother got my father-in-law and my brother-in-law, who were not those at the time, to try to talk her out of this. And she said she had to like write a letter to them, like a sincere letter.
This is a plot from Real Housewives of something. I mean, truly.
And she told my father-in-law, who he had a midlife crisis and became really like Orthodox Jewish, not like, not
chaos,
but like no milk and meat, and we stay in on Friday nights. She told him, look, you get to choose one thing. He's Jewish. That's it. And he's like, okay, that's all.
Well, now you have to become super successful. So she can just go, boop, there you go. Yeah.
Believe in working on it. It's really hard.
I know, man.
The two kids have been a little bit of a setback in the working hard department.
Yeah.
But it's got to be tricky because a lot of the like when I was starting out, I didn't have kids. I was on stage 6 nights a week and just sleeping in and stuff. I mean, I know what you do because we talked at that show and we were both like, the guy was like, hey, when do you guys want to go on? And both of us were like, first. We'll take
the bullet.
I got to go home. I got to be up at 6:30 to make breakfast. How old are your two kids, by the way?
4 and 1.
Yeah, you're in the thick. And so
you're in the thick. You're in my neighborhood of pain and suffering.
Well, let me just tell you, the 4-year-old really set me up for failure with the 1-year-old because she was so easy, so easy. And the 1-year-old is a terrorist. She's so adorable, but she's so difficult.
It's
How?
yeah.
I mean, we know how, but how?
Okay, if the 4-year-old's watching TV and the remotes are accessible, she'll grab them, change the channel. You know how like TVs just don't really have buttons on them anymore? She'll
Yes.
do something on the remote
Yeah.
that can't just be done by pressing a button on the television, and then she'll hide the remote somewhere and can't really give you clues as to where they are because she hasn't quite got a handle on the English language yet. She threw my AirPods in the toilet. She dumps if the dog bowl is accessible to her, she'll just dump it over, or she'll walk over to the carpet and dump it over on the carpet.
And she knows what she's doing. These are all very pointed attacks.
At first it was just like, I'm curious, and now it's like, oh yeah, you're gonna leave this vulnerable, I'm gonna go ahead and take it.
I have one of those.
Yeah, which one of the twins or the six?
Yeah, it's one of the twins. We call him the Dark Lord to his face. And he is intent on making everyone's life as painful as possible for his own. He just wants to watch the world burn, Sandy. That's all he wants.
That's what I say about my baby too. If I'm cooking, she boxes me out from the stove like she's Dennis Rodman. If she'll pull out everything from every cupboard, and then if I have the choice of either having to watch where I step carefully at every time I walk through the house, or put everything away 7, 8, 9 times throughout the day, and have sciatic nerve pain from bending over to do that.
She also, speaking of Dennis Rodman, she also has Kim Jong-un on speed dial, if I remember correctly, right?
Well, that's another thing she picked up from Dennis.
Yes, yeah.
Dude, it's so funny you say that because today I had an MRI a couple weeks ago because I have a herniated disc, and it's on my left side, and it's from holding the kids in the right arm.
What?
Everybody thinks to a degree of like, because you cock your body.
Yeah.
They had to test nerve damage in my legs today, so they poke you and then electrocute you, and zap, and you're like, ah, and he goes, yeah, that nerve's okay. Yeah, that nerve's, oh, go, no. And I was like, the whole time, all I was thinking is like, oh man, those kids are killing me, literally killing me. You really have sciatic nerve because it is sometimes it's from picking up the kids on one side.
I went and it was rescheduled twice, but I finally got made good on my Father's Day massage that my wife got me today, and the masseuse was like, if you just one thing before you go, if you could keep your arms down by your side more. I could tell there's a lot of tension in your neck and shoulders because your arms are up like this a lot, aren't they? And I was like, yeah, I got 2 kids. I got to carry them. He's like, yeah, okay.
Just don't carry them.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. The 1-year-old, she constantly needs to be held standing up. If I sit down while I'm holding her or laying down, she'll stick her finger up my nose. And one time she drew blood scratching it because I'm not really good about clipping her fingernails.
No, nobody is.
So now
that's part of the bloodletting ritual. I know all of. Yeah, they'll do that. Be careful. You're headed in my direction.
And you have the kids all day, I think, right? You're kind of when you're not doing sets, you're a stay-at-home dad like me.
Yes, the 4-year-old for the most part is in school 5 days a week. Although it seems like there's a lot of holidays I wasn't aware of.
Oh, Tu B'Shavat, the tree holiday.
Tu
Shavuot, the dairy holiday.
I don't know how she goes to a school at my wife's hospital, and I don't know how or why they're celebrating Tu B'Shvat or like Arbor Day. Why are they out of school on Arbor Day?
Listen, they're all fine, and I'm not gonna disparage any holiday. But a couple of weeks ago, my kids were supposed to go to camp on a Monday. And I had booked a golf. I was supposed to go like my one day. I was like, oh, thank God, I'm going to go play golf. And it was Juneteenth. And the camp was like, camp's closed today. And I was like, what? And they were like, and I go, Okay, all right. But I was like,
Yeah, it's like Jamie, it's what you deserved.
I know. I was like, oh man.
All right, girls, you're going to learn how to drive a golf cart today.
And so they caddied. I had them
Yeah.
both ready. And they're terrible caddies. They chose terrible club choices. Couldn't read the greens. They were useless. Useless in the traps. I'll tell you that right now. They would go down, start making a sandcastle. I go, hey, focus here, people. Have the kids become a big part of your act at this point?
I'll say this. The 4-year-old was so good. I maybe wrote like 5 jokes and a few of them stuck. And with the 1-year-old, I've got like a new 20 minutes.
Can we hear a couple? Because I got.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So she drew blood inside my nose. So now I look like the dad on coke at the park, and all the nannies and moms are looking at me in horror. But one of them's like, "Do you have any more? I'm so tired."
He's got Chardonnay in the thermos.
I rattle off all the things the baby's done that are less than enjoyable, and I'm like, we named her Jan. It's short for January 6th because she's a domestic.
That's a good joke, dude.
That is so deeply funny.
Even people from the South gotta laugh at that one.
That's tight.
Oh my god.
Trying to think what other ones.
Oh my god. That's
It is funny.
Like,
I wrote so much stuff about, like, my whole act was so autobiographical, and then I didn't put out one album until I had kids, and then I was like every 18 months I had a new album. I was like, it's pouring out of you at that point.
You know, I kind of have the same thing with my mother-in-law, but she wants me to talk about her so bad that I've just not.
yeah.
Like out of
Spite, really.
spite. Like if
Have
she
they come to see you at the store? Have they come down to the store to see you?
Yeah, not in a long time, but yeah, they have. Actually, that was the thing that after a while won her over. They came to see me, and they're like, oh, "Okay, he's good at this. You can marry him or whatever."
That's so heartwarming. You won them over.
Before we had kids, and my whole act was about being a single drunk guy, and I couldn't believe my wife brought them. But I did my whole act, and they were like, "That's the guy? This is the guy you've chosen?" I was like, but now they see like the kid stuff, and they're like, all right, he's gonna be okay.
Yeah,
that's funny, dude.
Oof.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked she wasn't like, he was on Friends, right? Like that isn't enough. That's not enough.
No. Well, here's why they were so upset, and this may be why. Are your in-laws East Coasters?
No, what's that?
Are they from the East Coast? Do they live on the East Coast?
The Detroit area.
Okay, so they were really mad at me that I moved, because we met in New York and we cross-country dated, and then she moved to the West Coast, and that was I don't think they didn't like me. I think that they were pissed that she chose a guy and then went to the West Coast because they don't see her as much. And I think it was more of that than they hated me, the idea of me.
Mine just hate my face.
Yeah.
Also, Jamie, you just keep telling yourself that.
Yes, I'll keep telling myself that.
You have such a lovable face, Jason.
It's such a lovable face,
Thank
Jason.
you. Well, I knew that I was on the fence there when, like, I was a borderline diabetic, and they bought me a gallon of fresh maple syrup for Christmas.
No.
That's not a joke. That is really what I got.
Jason.
Well,
no.
that's a joke, but there's a little truth in every joke. That's funny. I mean, after the first, where they were like, and then you have two, and they're like, well, I guess this guy's not going anywhere for a while. He's pretty much here.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on a second. Yep. Oh, it's Sandy's wife, and she's saying if we don't let him if we don't let him go right now.
Hold on, let me check, because there's a chance that the 4-year-old fell asleep on the couch. I don't hear much commotion. It's a possibility, so just stand by for a second.
We'll wait for you, Sandy. We'll do whatever we need to.
Well, Pop, hey, we got our resident therapist Celia Behar is here, so we're gonna pop you out for a bit, and then we'll pop her in. We stay at 4, and then come back in a bit, and then we'll bring back. Actually, come back and do some more jokes, because I love hearing the parent jokes, and I think everyone will watch out to hear it too. All right, we'll see you in a few.
That's a funny dude.
Yes, Celia.
Hey, buddy.
Hey,
Hi.
you guys.
Did you?
Well, we had our little resident. We had a guest that we actually almost kind of interviewed for a bit. Did you feel that way, Mulligan? A little
It
bit.
felt like an interview, but also Celia, it's very interesting. I don't know if you heard him talking about his mother-in-law, who's a tough customer, who's a clinical psychologist.
Oh, that's got to be rough.
We had an intervention for the wife saying, have you heard of this before? Where I think it happens in most marriages. Before they got married, the family had an intervention with the daughter to say, hey, for the love of God, you can't marry this guy. And then she married him anyway.
I have heard of that, and I don't think anyone wants to know where all those couples are today.
Really? Well, Sandy's still going strong with his wife,
Well, that's
I'm going to guess that 50% of them are divorced.
just like 50% of everyone.
Isn't that how it works?
I'd say more than that in my experience, but because, it's a lot of the time, but not all the time, parents do have a good intuition because we've gone through things,
But what isn't there also a possibility it's because there's always going to be bad blood with like you're not ever part of the family. This is the family that didn't want you in it. Like, couldn't that put a strain on the relationship too?
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
I definitely went through things with my own in-laws where like it wasn't their fault necessarily, but like my ex would say, like, you can say anything, like they're your family too. And then I'd be like, I'd voice an opinion about something, family dynamic that affected, either me and my kids or even just like out of concern for someone's health. And they were like, he would be like, well, you can't, this isn't your family. I'm like,
Okay.
oh, isn't this how that, oh, I see how this works. You're like, never mind. Fine. Bye. Great.
Oh,
Mine just don't like my whimsical nature.
Yeah. I think in-laws are tough. And,
Jason, you were talking about your actual parents.
They also hate me.
my actual parents, not fans of me either. But I will tell you that my mother-in-law was like, the boundary issues with my mother-in-law were so crazy out of control that, just recently my kids started being like, grandma does things. I'm like, oh, you want to hear her? And like, because she had embarrassed, both of them, I think, just by being her, because she's loud and she's funny. And she's clinically, she's legally deaf. So she has hearing aids, but she rarely has them on. And she kind of just doesn't give a F about anything, which great, good for her. But this has led to things where like, it's a game of, family volleyball, and she moons the entire family. And the neighbor is outside and is like, oh, there's Marilyn's butt, and her kids are like, oh my gosh. And she earned the nickname in my mama group, my mama support group, as Naked Granny, because she showered with my oldest daughter when my oldest daughter was like 3. And I was in the house. Like, she didn't ask me if she could do that. I was like, that's like a whole thing where I kind of wish you hadn't done that. And then, later, my daughter, who was, probably like 3.5 at the time, said something to me, like about grandma's shaving or not their own habits, and was and told me the color of those.
Oh no!
All right, I'm going to interrupt everybody because I see Mr. Danto is back. I want to hear some of his parenting jokes, so I'm going to break a rule, and we're going to go 5 of us in here.
Yeah, 5.
All right.
I'm bringing him back, and we'll all play. Mr. Danto, apparently you got a reprieve, and you can come back in for a little bit.
Yes, I'm just a little bit. I have mixed feelings about hearing about Grandma's bush and/or lack thereof.
By the way, their last name is Bush. Just just as.
But her first name is Marilyn. Marilyn Bush. You got to meet Sandy Danto. You two could be a real team.
This is the same mother-in-law, by the way. When I was nursing, came over to like talk to me. She was leaning over my shoulder, and my youngest daughter unlatched. And before I had a moment to do anything, my mother-in-law stuck her hand underneath my boob, scooped it up, and stuffed it back into my daughter's mouth. And I just was like, oh, okay. Oh, wow. Oh, well, that happened. And later said to my, my husband at the time, like, I was like, hey, your mom your mom molested me today. Like your mom touched me in my bathing suit area, and I don't really feel like that was appropriate.
That's my favorite term, by the way, bathing suit part.
Yeah.
You always like to touch bathing suit parts.
Joke's on you. You guys haven't seen my bathing suit. It's my whole body.
Can I change the subject? Because Sandy, if you have a few moments to chat about vacations with children, which I don't know if you've taken one in a while. I've been on the road for 13 days. We just got back last night.
Where were
13
you?
days. We did a tour of the East Coast. My two daughters and my wife and I, with six pieces of luggage, went and stayed at 5 different locations with different family members, from Breezy Point to Babylon, Long Island. We poked our head into Mystic, Connecticut. Then we were down Cape Cod, and then we stayed in Boston. And it was actually it went as great as it could. But we, we slept, all 4 of us, in the same room. They're too little. We don't have a suite or someone else to watch them. So 4 of us in a room every night for about 12 straight days.
I thought that's why maybe you had the 2 extra suitcases. They each slept in a suitcase.
You know what? Next time I'm doing that. That would have been.
There's 4 of you. Why do you have 6 suitcases? Teach your people how to pack better.
I can answer this for Jamie.
Yes, we've talked about this, about packing, and it was so funny because even I overpack, but we overpack, and I'm like, and we were staying at people's homes, we could use their laundry machine. So you're like, why are we packing? And we were in bathing suits and t-shirts for most of the week. We've got to be better packers. I was terrible too. I had a whole suitcase to myself, and it was insane.
Well, the whole suitcase to yourself makes sense. There should have been 4 suitcases.
Correct.
So you didn't do anything wrong, Jamie.
Kids, why don't they share a suitcase? I used to make my kids
They
share.
shared one giant suitcase. My wife and I had one. Then there was a couple
4
of
others.
carry-ons, and then
Okay.
a backpack,
Oh,
and then
Like one
Now
for
they have
the
to
one
bring
for the
some
bodies
toys. They
that you
needed
have to
toys for the
hide
plane.
later.
But you're not talking about 6 suitcases. You're talking about some 6 is including the carry-ons.
checked 4
Okay.
giant suitcases. And
Oh,
then
giant. Okay.
they were more than necessary.
Okay.
But it's so funny because everyone's like, "How was your vacation, dude?" My vacation started this morning when I dropped them off at camp. Like I was a butler. I was a cook. I was a lifeguard. I had like 18 jobs. Cook. I did everything over the week, and there were moments where I was like, I just sat quietly, but they were few and far between. And then every night we slept. It was great. We were very lucky. We spent a few nights, and at the very end, we were like, we're checking into a hotel, and we stayed in like a really nice hotel in Boston. We were like, I can't do this anymore. And also, you can't visit. Like, we saw so many family members, and it was great. But after like 48 hours in the same house with the same people, we're caught up. I got it. And you reach a point where you're like, I can't visit anymore. I just don't know what to do. I just want to go sit in a corner and watch TV and shut my brain off. But then they're like, "What's wrong with your husband? He's the lunatic over there watching SportsCenter."
It is hard to build in like alone time on a trip.
I think it's just hard for most people to understand boundaries at all.
Yeah.
Based on what all of us have said.
Yeah.
In different areas of life. Like Jamie, people should understand that you need some time to decompress. Celia, your people should know not to touch you in the bathing suit area.
Well, I'm divorced now, so they know.
Yeah. They
You
know.
know what that
I
doesn't
mean, the restraining
necessarily
order pretty much sums it up. I think we got it.
It's in the court documents.
No more cupping.
I got custody of my own boobs. Thank you very much.
At the trial, they held up a little doll and they were like, "Celia, now where did you get touched?"
Right,
Was
and I'm
it
like,
here?
right there. Right
Was
there,
it milk,
right there.
milk, lemonade, or in the back?
right
of the fridge
there,
was
but
made?
not on the inside.
It's just a shell. It's not who you are. It's just a shell, Celia. It's not who you are. It's just your vehicle for this journey. It's nothing personal.
Oh my God. Well,
Yeah.
we did travel with the girls. Actually, we just got back in town yesterday from Highland Park, Illinois.
Oh,
Ooh.
that's where I am. Well,
That's where
nearby. Well, I wasn't. To be clear, I wasn't. I was not in the parade,
Right,
but I was.
right.
I was going to a concert at Ravinia the next night, or 2 nights later, and they had canceled all of it because of.
Yeah, we were supposed to go. Well, we were supposed to go to Highland Park 2 weeks ago and see Dead and Co. at Wrigley Field, and my brother-in-law lives there with his wife and 2 kids, and my wife got COVID, so we didn't go.
Yeah. Mhm.
And we rescheduled it for 2 weeks later. And in between COVID and us going, there was the shooting, and they were at the parade and had to run and hide and shelter for 5 hours in a stranger's basement. And we talked to their next door neighbor, and they, along with 16 other people, sheltered in a Starbucks bathroom for 4 hours.
4 hours.
Had to all those people. So I've lost.
So I got to tell you, after that, my vacation was really good.
Yeah.
Really.
Jamie had a vacation. Jamie had a really good vacation.
Vacation.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Sandy, we lost you at all. Are you there?
You only cut out at the most dramatic point in the whole story.
Yeah.
It sounds like that right there.
That's just terrifying.
Yeah, the whole thing's terrifying. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna boot him. He will come back when he's ready.
That's what he gets for bringing the show down.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go sit in the corner now, Sandy.
I mean,
Danto.
I will tell you, aside from just that incident alone, traveling has changed drastically, monetarily alone. Like, we stayed in a hotels for a couple nights, and they weren't even like, a couple of them were like, yeah, that's a pretty good hotel. I was like, I'm sorry, how much?
Yeah.
You know, like, everything is crazy expensive, and inflation has touched everything. And but we're so, you know, it's like we're caged animals. We finally got out. We're like, we're traveling. And then people are like, it's this much. And I'm like, I'm sorry. It's like the weirdest of both worlds. So traveling's been really, I don't know, kind of crazy lately, especially with kids.
Sandy, it broke up, but it sounds like you went to Highland Park and you met Michael Jordan. Is that the story you were telling?
Yeah, it was really
He still lives there?
We met Michael Jordan and Ferris Bueller, and it was all just a happy-go-lucky time.
Mhm.
It's great.
Did you tour the Home Alone house?
That is in Winnetka. How dare you?
We went to the park that he ran across the street after he stole the
toothbrush. Yeah.
And I saw Cameron's house from Ferris Bueller. My brother.
Did you see that? All right, hold on. It's Stephanie Hansen goes, Kate, quick, lighten the mood. Talk about 9/11.
Yeah, that's my
I
specialty.
could do that.
Oh,
I was there
God.
for that. You know, you just
I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
You know, there's no way around it. That's just what happened.
Listen, we don't talk about politics at all, but we talk about events that we are all participating in. And so I get it, of course, man. And
Yeah,
that's what we
huge.
talk about with having kids. It's like they're extensions of our own nervous system. So there's every day. It's not just that. It's the terror of anything. Like, you know, sending them. We dropped our kids off at some art camp today. I didn't know it. We dropped them off. And as we're driving away, it's like that weird thought in your head of like, oh, what am I doing? You know, it's crazy. You know, you're in the kids, and I'm trying to keep them near me. Don't move.
You need my mother-in-law to comment. My ex-mother-in-law to come and help you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think she's still available to help with such
Excellent.
things. I'll keep you right near him.
She lives probably close to me, right? I could look her up.
There you go. No, she's in Vermont now, but
No.
she was in Ithaca recently, and she could have helped, you know, get that to happen, and also gotten your kids some nachos from someone.
Well, they got them themselves.
Right. No, I know.
Was your mother-in-law a lactation consultant? Because
No, we did call her the booby Nazi for a while.
Okay. There you go. There you go.
As a Jew, I'm allowed to say that.
Yeah. Totally fine.
No, but she's like super hippy dippy and just felt, I don't know, she just felt like she could do that. She would come out with, like, as far as in-laws go, she would come out with the weirdest stuff. I asked her once to help my daughter with homework, and she's like, oh, but I think she's left-handed, and I can't help anything with left-handed. I can't use my left hand. I don't even masturbate with my left hand. I was like, I just stared at her, and she goes, oh, is that too much information? I was like, you think? Like,
Sandy popped the eye over. Did everyone catch that for a second?
yes. Sandy, why don't you call her up? Be like,
You definitely have the Belushi eyebrows too, man. That's a gill with it. We did.
Oh
Here's
my
what
God.
we did on the vacation, and I feel terrible about it. My wife
Yes,
and I are
Sarah,
like,
they are hippy dippy in Ithaca.
we did so much damage to our kids over the vacation because we used iPads like babysitters, and I'm ashamed to say it. Like we would get up in the morning, and the kids would be like, "Hey, we're up," and they'd be like, "Can we use our iPads?" And of course, internally, we're like, "No, of course not. That's terrible." But we're in bed, we're exhausted, and we're all four of us in the same room. We had nowhere to go, and we're like,
Nothing wrong with
"Of
it.
course you can use your iPads."
You
Yeah.
know what? You just gotta say it's just for vacation.
Yeah.
We did.
They try to
did.
do it at home. It's like, no, it's just that's
But
just
you
for
missed.
vacation.
But it caused a meltdown today. They came home from camp and they were like, "She's like, can I use my iPad?" And I was like, "No, you're not using my iPad." She goes, "All day at camp, all I wanted to do was use my iPad." My 7-year-old, and then she Claire slumped onto the ground. And was like, like lost her mind. She plays sneaky Sasquatch, and she's just walking through a place like as a sneaky Sasquatch. It's insane.
She's in withdrawal. Give her a break.
Total withdrawal.
Yeah.
I know it is.
Yeah.
Actually, it's
Really?
true. Honestly, she is.
Here's how horrible of a parent I am. I wanted to put the TV on. I wanted to watch TV, but my wife she didn't say anything, but I knew if I turned on the TV, I was going to get shot. So I was like, "Yeah, no iPads." And then I just sat quietly, like in my own withdrawals of like, I want to put the TV on. I'm not going to make it. I need to see PTI. It will melt. Killing me.
As I'm sitting here, I have the Dodgers game on my phone next to me.
It's like a drug, but listen,
How's Sandy Danto doing? Is he up yet?
We were in restaurants.
I'm a relief pitcher.
We let the kids use the iPads in the restaurants, and other tables were just staring at us like, "Ugh, look at these parents. They're so awful." And I wanted to go, "We've been sleeping in the same room for 12 straight nights. I'm not going to make it, man."
You should have just let your kids get up and walk around the restaurant and take whatever food off of other people's tables.
That's why we have to have iPads or mine steal.
That's a callback from two shows ago.
Just to fill them in, my children and I went to and my wife went to a restaurant, and the Dark Lord left the table and helped himself to another family's nachos at a separate, and he took them. He took the plate and brought it back to us. He's 3.
Joey Steeler says PTI on the phone, bro. Come on, Joey.
Your Dark Lord is legendary.
Because they didn't protect their food.
Yeah, I'll send them. You guys, I've got Sandy's wife on the phone.
I feel I was justified.
You guys, she does need them now. She does.
I'm the closer. I am the relief pitcher when it comes to
I'll send them. Thank you.
bedtime, because I just go in after my wife's done all the work and I sing a couple songs while my daughter passes out, and that's it.
Let's hear it. What's the song?
Yeah, what's the song?
Oh,
Just
I know
warm up.
she is a Disney princess fiend, and I know just request any Disney princess. I know the song.
Let
by
it
heart.
go.
Moana.
I want Let It Go.
Oh, I wanted Moana. Yes, Let It Go is great.
We were singing Moana today. Weird.
Snow
She's not a
glows
princess.
white on the mountain tonight, not a footprint to be seen. A kingdom of isolation, and it looks like I'm the queen. The wind is howling like a swirling storm inside. Couldn't keep it in, heaven knows I've tried. Don't let them in, don't let them see. Be the good girl you've always had to be. Conceal, don't feel, don't let them know. 'Cause now they know. Let it go, let it go. My left eye only looks to the right. Let it go, let it go. Close your eyes and close them tight.
We just got shut down on YouTube. That was so spot on.
That was so spot on.
Copyright infringement.
Thank
By the
you.
way, Freddie B has the joke of the day about Sandy's name. Sandy Danto is such a great name. He could be a member of the Cowboys and Tombstone, a 70s detective with a first man on Mars. And I like all
I
that.
love
Truly.
that. I'm screenshotting that.
What's the craziest
Yeah.
stuff
There's
that's happened
another
with
one.
your kids, Sandy? Do you remember any like
No, he
insane?
literally has to go. He told
Is he
us.
go- oh,
No, I could do this last one. I'll close
All right.
it out with this.
take us out.
The craziest thing that's happened?
Or one of your jokes. I know you're writing it. I've seen a ton of your material about your kids, which makes me laugh. So share something with us.
While you're sharing it, I do want to say Stephanie Hansen earlier said Sandy Danto has the name of a 40s radio host or a pinch hitter for the Cleveland Indians.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's like, or a relief pitcher.
Actually, the Cleveland Indians one is spot on.
Yeah. Spot on.
The glove, he's like got the autograph in the glove. That's totally.
I got an original Sandy Danto.
I've got the name and body of a 1940s pro wrestler.
Actually, that one. And they call him the Sandman because he puts people to sleep. It all falls into place, and that's his trademark. He puts them out, and then he goes, "Sleep tight, my friend."
Then he sings them a Disney princess song, and they just drift right off.
And when he comes into the ring, they're like, "Bum bum 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 bum." Oh, Mr. Sandman,
let him go out. Let him go out on a joke.
Really?
And we're out of here.
Really? I'm the one that actually gave him the out, and then you asked him more questions.
Now we're shutting you down.
Last thing. So we did fly back from Chicago, Highland Park yesterday. But the first time it wasn't the first time, but the first time we took the older one once she was like mobile, because when they're little and they can't crawl or walk, it's the ideal time to fly. Fuck everyone else if they cry. I don't care. They just hold them and they're fine and they sleep and breastfeed and it's whatever. But once she was able to walk, you got to take them up and down the aisles. And I did that, and she tripped on a large man's foot whose leg was sticking out on the aisle, and she broke her leg. And
on the plane?
On the plane, and we were freaking out, and I had to go to an audition on the Fox lot, like right from the airport. And so me and my wife came up with this plan that she was going to drop me off at my audition and take the car and go to the hospital, and I was going to Uber and meet her there. And we got to the gates of the Fox lot, and my wife was so frazzled and forgot the plan. They have the security guard who's like, "What are you here for?" And my wife just goes, "Where's the urgent care?" And he's like, "Ma'am, this is a movie studio." And my daughter's crying in the back, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to skip the audition. Let's go to the hospital. And she had a broken leg, but it healed like 3 days later, and she ripped the cast off herself.
Wow.
Wait, none of us saw, and she broke her leg coming after. I have to walk her up and down the aisles.
I also didn't see she ripped her own cast off as the end.
Well, I did, knowing her
Sandy,
personality.
I gotta be honest, I was like total parent judging you for being the dude that gets up and walks back and forth with your kid, where I'm like, my kids were not allowed to move. I was like, no, that's the law. You can't, no matter what. And now I judge you even more because your daughter broke her leg. I mean, really well done.
And the audition,
I appreciate your judgment, and I
absorb
it into my what I am proud of, my philosophy of parenting, which is lazy parenting.
But the story has to end with the Fox people call you and say, "We don't need to see you, Sandy.
Yeah,
we're booking you on your name alone, Sandy Danto," and that's it. And then
the day you're supposed to shoot, you get COVID, so you can't shoot it. Okay, great.
And then you lose.
But you were cast as
Nice
a
to meet
Cleveland
you.
Indian relief pitcher.
All right, listen, everybody. Sandy, you have to come back now. Now we need more
have to come
stories,
back.
but we got to let you go because your wife's never going to let you come play again if you don't.
Yes.
So,
Absolutely.
everybody,
Thank you,
Sandy Danto.
Thank you, guys. This
Thanks,
was
man.
fun.
Bye.
See you soon.
Bum 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 bum.
Oh.
Wow.
That was
Broke
wild.
the leg on the flight.
We had that mom gas.
He knows how to close a show, right?
We didn't get into the depth of the story because my guess is she tripped with a broken leg. That kid is screaming for the rest of the
Yeah.
flight. I mean,
but also broken leg feels so serious that also did they not summon a doctor to
listen,
band it?
and Sarah wants to know what was the
There was
audition
one.
for. There's so many unanswered questions.
I know. What was the audition for?
The whole thing's upsetting me now. It was almost like he was like, oh, one last story. My kid, I came home and she had this crazy nuclear device she found in the front yard. Anyway, I gotta go. And and you're like, whoa. There was
And the audition was probably Nacho Libre too.
I think it was Charlie Day's part in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, right? That would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a John Belushi biopic. It probably wasn't going to be a big deal.
No,
Don't
he
worry
didn't
about it.
have that.
He didn't have a chance.
Wow, though, broken leg.
Oh, all right. Let's get back to vacation time. And the vacation could not have gone better, but I still was like, by the time we get home, we were wrung out.
Yeah. You need a vacation from the vacation.
But it's my wife was back to work this morning. Actually, so because we're on East Coast time, we woke up at 5:00 this morning,
Yeah.
and then my wife decided then she needed to clean out the snack closet at like 5:30 this morning, and I was like, okay, there's some issues happening here. I don't know what's happening, but all of a sudden she got up and was super motivated to then like put the house together, make the kids breakfast. I was like, oh yeah, here we go. You ever do that when you finish vacation and then you're like, okay, I've got to start my life.
Yeah.
Well, I was done.
I have that.
Just my wife.
No, I have it too.
Did she bring back something special from the East Coast that you don't want to tell us about that maybe gave her extra energy?
No, there was no. Trust me. All four of us slept in the same room, let alone some nights the same bed. So no energy.
Yeah.
There's no energy.
It's also so hard going east. No, coming back west is the harder. It's so hard. Like my boys, like, you know, we let them stay up late when we got out to Cape Cod, or even when we got to Chicago, because it's too, you know. So if they usually go to bed at 7 in LA, then they're going to bed at 9 in Boston, no problem. But it's that time back when you go back. Ooh, we are gonna be up in the 5s. Your kids must have gotten up early too, Jamie. No,
we were all up. It was crazy.
Yeah.
We had like 3 hours. We got so much done before they went to camp this morning. It was nuts.
You know what helps with that? Be divorced. And like you take them there to the East Coast, and then he takes them back with you, or she, and then he gets that deal because I didn't get that deal. I was back
before I was married. I always thought how joint custody sounded so sad to me. I was like, oh, that's sad. And now I'm like,
dream come true.
Joint custody sounds like the word massage or like 3-day weekend.
Like Louis C.K. has that whole thing about how he's like anyone could be a good dad 3 days of the week. You know?
Even that I struggle with.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, seriously. I missed my kids. I'm glad they're back, but I didn't have to deal with that time difference thing. Although mine are older. So it didn't really matter. But I made myself the night that I got back from the East Coast. I stayed up until like 2 a.m. just so that I wouldn't wake up at 5 because I was, and I went right back to work. I did not, however, organize.
But also because you're insane and you couldn't go to sleep. Was that also part of it?
Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah. I was just checking. I was just making sure.
I just don't sleep.
I'm hanging on my fumes right now. It was funny because last week you guys did the show without me, and
it was really
like,
hard.
are you going to make it? I go, dude, there's not a chance I'm awake at 10 o'clock on the East Coast.
You were bagging on me when we did it, and I was on the East Coast, and I was like, it's 10 o'clock here. And you're like, so?
Claire Kramer's on the East Coast now, and I was like, that's why she's not doing the show. I go, you're not me. She's like, I'm not me.
You understand, it is about to turn 10 o'clock in Chicago.
It's like, always this for Jason. Why do we just pretend it's not
that guy?
Because
every week I'm like, everybody's whining about this. I do it this way always.
Literally, Jason, did I not say to you? I said to you last or 2 weeks ago, I was like,
2 weeks ago,
I was like, I have so much respect for you now, Jason. I'm so sorry you have to do it this way. I literally said that.
I stopped sleeping
tomorrow in Ireland, and she's awake. Just saying.
Question for you guys, if you can remember, what's the worst vacation you've ever taken?
With kids or without?
With kids or without, yeah.
No, let's go without. Let's go with or without. Just the worst vacation where it's like a, one of those like, I got arrested overseas or something. Like,
I can tell you, probably without fail, it was my honeymoon.
Why?
Such a bummer. My parents were living in the Philippines. And so this was mistake number one, but I love Asia. I love Asia. So I had gone out to the Philippines before we got married, and I had my dress made there for like $500.
Wow.
And it was like the skirt came off, a top, pick out the fabric. Like we had to go to a mall and pick out fabric. Anyway, and then we went back. So then we had our wedding in Chicago, and then half a year later, we're like, okay, now we're going out. So we went out to the Philippines to see my parents. And the second night we're there, my dad got really sick to his stomach. And then we leave the next day and we go to Hong Kong. And we go out to dinner with some people that we know in Hong Kong. And then that night I get violently sick to my stomach. And I'm like, wow, Hong Kong did me dirty. And so I take Imodium. I've got a fever. I'm throwing up, and I'm also got everything. And then 2 days later, we go to Thailand. And Thailand, I'm like a little bit better in Thailand. And then Dickie, my husband gets wildly sick.
Oh,
So he then starts taking Imodium too. And then 3 days later, we're like on an island in Thailand, and I get like violently ill. I'm like, wow, this Imodium's not really. It turns out my father had a stomach flu that he gave us. And then we just kept thinking it was like traveler sickness. So then what we did is we kept the virus inside us by taking Imodium.
Oh,
We were
no.
sick the 2 weeks of the 2 weeks of the honeymoon, and we were sick 14 days after we got home.
And that's when you conceived your children.
Yeah,
I
no.
guess you still had sex because you're like, well, we're here. I guess we
There
have.
was a great day in Thailand where we like on Koh Samui, this island, and yeah, there was like one great overlap day, but it was probably it was a nightmare, a real proper nightmare.
There's nothing worse than getting sick like that. I would say the opposite is
In a country where you don't speak the language, Kayla.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
our honeymoon had it had the door. Sometimes in like Hawaii they have the door to the bathrooms like slats. Where there's
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
no good.
And we're still, even though we're all married, we're still like. I always just get up in the morning. Was like, hey, I'm gonna go get coffee in the lobby.
yeah.
I'm also going to leave some coffee in the lobby. You get my drift. Like I'm using the lobby. I don't know how to tell you this, but the lobby's where it all happens.
Right.
Yeah, yes, I'm coming back with coffee, but I'm also dropping.
also-
It's going to
Yeah.
take a while.
You get it.
Yeah,
You
it's
get it. But sometimes for other people, you miss one window, and camper lockdown is like that's it. The dam is set and ain't nothing moving. And I think for a lot of people when they travel like that, it's always like, and even on the East Coast, when I went back, there's that one day where you're like, look, if I don't push everything down the Suez Canal, there's going to be some serious, the ships are going to be lined up and
Okay.
we're not going to get everybody out.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And so you've got to make sure, because when you go back to the East Coast, there's a lot of bagels happening. A lot of pizzas,
Okay.
burgers. You're like,
Okay.
let's get everyone on track. No man gets left behind. So you have to. Sometimes you got to sit quietly, get some coffee going. You got to fire it up, because otherwise you miss one window. The whole vacation. Am I wrong? Am I crazy?
No, I'm just trying to figure out how this ends up being your worst vacation ever.
Yeah, I was
Well, we
wondering
had
the same.
vacations where it was like, I can't.
You were the ever given in the Suez. You were the big
You were-
tanker.
you were-
Has
you were
anyone
literally
had
full
camper
of-
lockdown before? Have you guys had camper lockdown on vacation?
No, what's camper lockdown?
Camper lockdown, where you don't evacuate everything.
I
And
could
then-
not have a different problem if I
Constipation. Does anyone? No one's ever had that on the
literally
road?
could not have a
all the
different
Am I
time.
problem.
crazy? What
all
about
the
the
time.
people who are watching this thing? Can anyone talk to me about? No one's heard of camper lockdown?
I've never heard of camper lockdown,
Camper
but I
lockdown.
was with my boyfriend for 2.5 years, and I think I was able to use his toilet like twice, and it was an ongoing joke because I just call it shy butt. Like I'm like, I can't. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
I love
All of a
shy butt.
sudden,
I
if
can't.
you
I have
miss a
shy
day
butt.
or
It's
two,
not
all of a
interested.
sudden you're still going out to like crazy dinners and stuff, and the bank's taking a lot of deposits, but no withdrawals, and all of a sudden the vacation's over. You're like, I can't move. People know.
Your worst vacations when you were like literally full of poop, like literally you're full of poop.
Yeah, I would
Right.
say. Pretty much.
All right.
Well, I mean, that's not a recurring problem for, and we're the only people who sometimes when you travel time zones, like here's the deal. If I have to go somewhere, I have to backtrack it. Like if I have to be somewhere really early in the morning, like if I have an on-set thing at 6, I wake up at like 4:30, get that pot of coffee in.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have to go else. I want to be home. I want
Okay.
everything on track.
Oh,
Otherwise,
wow.
but
I
okay.
don't see. I'm like
Nobody else?
I don't budget my time like that. I will say when I'd spend like the weekend at my boyfriend's and I would come back here, I'd be like, so if anyone needs me, I'll be in the bathroom for like probably the next 5 hours.
Okay. I get that. Sure.
Jason and I have never, I mean, this is not a problem Jason and I have, I don't think.
I might even go so far as the other to make it to the bathroom in a public place.
I'm talking about.
I've gone on a plane. I don't care. By the way, can I tell you, I haven't gone on a plane lately, by the way, but the 2 flights we just took, I mean, there's people who are just destroying aircrafts. The whole aircraft, honestly, I at some point I was like, this is insane. We need to land this plane. I don't care where we are. The whole place is reeking. You couldn't go into the bathroom. It was just Can't they circulate the air and get it out of the plane? I mean, the whole plane.
But it's the whole compression, right? Like that's the whole thing is that there's like air compression. It makes some people have to go. Like I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Oh yeah, it makes you very gassy because as you go up, it expands.
I don't really need the help there.
No, you don't. You're good on your own. You could just fuel the plane all the way.
Yes.
Probably, yeah.
When you're on a tour bus, that is rule number 1.
Don't do it.
Nobody. There's no deuces. There's no deuces wild on the bus.
That's the same with any if you take an RV trip, same thing.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I don't know if you guys know this, but I have a gambling problem. And I like to gamble on farts, and I always lose the bet.
You're gonna lose a 50-50?
You know what I mean? I'm gonna lose 50-50. Yeah, I got that gambling problem.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. You don't want to lose a 50-50.
Jason, what's your worst vacation? I mean, I'm trying to think of what terrible. I mean, there's obviously terrible vacations where you check into a place and you immediately go, "I've made a terrible choice."
We had one that Jace got sick, and we went to a Kalahari water park. And we went to the nicer dinner place that they have there, and he got violently ill at the restaurant and started just heaving all over the table, all over his mother, all over me.
Oh, no.
We had the babies were just like 4 months old. It was like we were just trying to take Melissa somewhere to get away after the stroke, and he was so sick the whole night, and we weren't able to use the water slides or anything, so he got all excited he was going to get to do all this stuff and never got to do any of it.
Well, and then you went to a place called the Kalahari. I'm guessing dengue fever was on the menu of some sort, or malaria or something.
Legionnaires, I think.
I thought it was just steaming only, but it turns out they also give you the fun diseases when you get there.
Wow. Were people at least understanding in the restaurant, or did people freak
Our
out?
waitress was not. She was really nasty to us, which also made it worse because he was clearly not okay. And so we were trying to, he's covered, we're covered, we're trying to maneuver the double stroller to get it, but it was just an absolute nightmare.
Did you stay to order dessert? That's the question.
We got it delivered by DoorDash later.
We had the same. We had Claire. Actually, it was in Boston last time we were there. She was a little baby, and she threw up all over the rental car, the inside of the rental car. And you're like,
Oh, that smell never comes out of a car.
I know. And we were like, we tried to scrub it out. And then when we returned the car, I think we spilled something else that really smelled like pine or something to try to disguise it. Like, that's just that's a normal smell in life. That's not a big deal. And the guy was
that's when you return it and you complain and you're like, listen, something's up with your car. Like partway through the trip, something was coming through the vent. It smells that way. It smells
like acid.
Yeah, weird.
Always blame somebody else, right?
Wow. Yeah, you blame somebody else.
Does anybody have a vacation story that was bad that doesn't involve body fluids? Because I swear to God, I think that you do, Celia. Oh, okay.
I mean, it involves other
overseas.
Bad things, but it's when I was a kid. We used to, every Thanksgiving break, my parents would take us to my grandparents' farm, and they had an old school station wagon, and it wasn't you'd put you put the seat down and you could all just be flat in the station wagon, like that old school station wagon, wooden panel station wagon.
Facing backwards or
and my older sister would always bring a friend, but my younger sister and I would never be allowed to bring a friend. We had to be together. And my parents always had 500 animals, and they'd always bring, the 3 dogs with us. And one of our dogs was a gigantic collie who had a allergy, like a skin allergy. So like, first of all, his butt was always like raw, like he'd rip his skin out. But like my older sister and her friend would go to the front of the, I see that. Oh my God, Sarah. My sister would be in the front with her friend of like the seat would be packed down, and they would shove my little sister and I way back, and then they'd push the dogs back on us. And so inevitably a dog butt would be in your face, and like the collie's testicles would be like hanging in your face, and they'd be farting, and we'd be like stuck there. And if you complained to my parents, they would be like, "We don't want to hear it.
We'll turn this car around."
You know? And it was like, it was traumatizing. It was so traumatizing. I still don't own a goddamn dog because of that.
I thought you were gonna say I still don't own a station wagon.
Well, that too, But that was like that was probably the worst vacation, was when Champ, his name was Champ, and my sister and I were, and it was like the whole trip, everywhere we went, they would like put this damn dog with us who would just fart and had like bald butt and like was constantly, it's was in our face.
Do you start to panic whenever you see dog testicles?
Yes, as a rule, I do. If I wake up and dog testicles are in my face, I'm a little nervous, just a little.
What if you see that balls hanging from the back of a pickup truck?
Right away. It's PTSD. I gotta have the sweats.
How did you live here then?
I'm right back in the station wagon. We're living the whole thing. It's awful.
Have you ever stayed in places where you're just like terrified?
Well, my ex-husband is from Mississippi, and his grandparents were from Ozark, Alabama. So
okay, that's pretty. What about you, Mulligan? Have you ever checked into places where you're like, I can't stay here?
Do you know what's funny? We used to go to the Jersey Shore when I was a kid, and we would and it wasn't Snooki Jersey Shore. It's it's like blue collar. It's like blue. It's like blue collar Jersey Shore, right?
I stayed there in the Cape in North Falmouth. We stayed at this place.
Yeah,
that was very similar.
The Jersey Shore used to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and so we would just go and we'd have 2 weeks and we'd like rent a house with our cousins. Then we'd go to the beach every day, and that was that. But we would drive from our suburb in Chicago there, and so on the way back we stopped in Cleveland. And I was too young to understand, but like we made it just to Stephanie Hansen. What's up, Cleveland? We made it to Cleveland, and we pulled into our hotel that my uncle had booked for us. He's like, I used to live in Cleveland. I know the area. And it was next to a strip club called Juicy Lucy's.
That's not real. This didn't really happen.
I swear I could get my father and mother up here to tell you right now. And it was Juicy Lucy's, and a pimp was literally walking away. Like, now I didn't know this at all. I was just like, oh, she's not wearing very many clothes. My goodness. Like, and they're walking into the hotel. It was like basically the hotel would be like where people would go to after Juicy Lucy's, man. And my dad was like, we're going to drive all the way home. So he pulled another like 8-hour drive, like whatever it was. We're supposed to be halfway through. I think it was like a 16-hour drive, 13-hour drive. He just was like, I'm going home. We're going all the way home. And so we just kept driving.
You didn't
Juicy Lucy's on my
Lucy's or no?
I'm sorry. Stephanie Hansen says Juicy Lucy's on my family crest.
Just this past weekend, we were in Boston, and we had walked from downtown where we were staying all the way out to like the Back Bay, and we were wiped. Like Claire can only walk so far, and so I'm like, we got to get into a cab. We go to get into a cab, and the guy was a total dick, and then the cab was so disgusting, and he's like clearing stuff off the seat, and I'm like, I can't do this. We're walking home. So we walked all the way back. Claire can't. I put her on my shoulders, and
I wonder why you have back problems.
Back from Back Bay to back to downtown with Claire in actually piggyback mode. It's no big deal. I just have a herniated disc. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
You get home and I'm like, I'm sopping wet. I'm just soaking wet. We get home and I'm like, I feel like we walked really far. I turned on my phone, the My Chart, 16,000 steps I had done that day.
Wow.
I had done 16,000 steps. I woke up the next day. I was like, my feet were like Fred Flintstone, like throbbing. I was in so much pain. But I'm the same. I was like, I can't get in this cab. I just can't do it, man. We were freaked out by the whole situation.
Are you a Regina's Pizza guy or a Santarpio's guy?
Claire we get a Regina's Pizza at
you did.
I'm not eating Regina's Pizza, but we got our one at Faneuil Hall Market.
Okay.
We
Wow.
Oh.
It seemed like a little judgy the way you said, I'm not eating a Regina's pizza. Like,
Yeah,
what?
it looked fine.
It
looked
did
fine.
feel a little judgy, didn't it?
I like my craft pizzas. I like my craft. My little.
Okay.
What's
You've been in LA too long.
I
You like
have been
mocha.
actually. If anything's more, there's nothing true in that because I hung back on the East Coast, and I didn't. I love my family and stuff, and it was great to hang with them. But I'm posh. I'm posh spice. I've become posh spice, and I'm having trouble. I can hang, but at some point I'm like, listen. I don't love luxury, but I like a high thread count. I'm not gonna lie to you. I like a really high thread count.
And you love a cremini mushroom on a pizza. We got it.
Listen, I'll slice up. I'll make a portobello. I'll kill that. It was like, listen, I love bagels. I love bagels. I can't eat them I can't eat bagels every day, man. I'm just not who I am. But it's so funny because I go back east and I'm totally of there. I'm Johnny Blue Collar, New Hampshire, but at some point, I was staying in rooms and I'm like, nah, we're checking into a hotel. I can't do this anymore. I can't do it. And we're checking into a hotel. I can't. I don't care. I don't care if it bankrupts us. I don't care. We're getting a hotel right now. But it had nothing to do there was no fights. Everybody was great. It was just, it reaches a point where there's four of you in a room.
Yeah.
And you're like, life's too short. What am I doing here, man? I'm not doing this. We're on vacation. I don't care. And we kind of splurred. We were so frugal like the first 10 days. And then at the end, I was like, I can't take it. We checked into places. I didn't give a shit.
Man, back in the day, I would like sleep at even when my kids were like little. If I went to New York, I was like, I'll sleep in people's kind of guest rooms or that kind of thing. And now this last time, I was like, I'm not doing any of that.
I'm not doing it again.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just not, and they're older, obviously, so it's easier. But I took them. We stayed at the San Carlo. We got a suite that just was like had doors to a bedroom door could close, pull out couch, kitchenette, bathroom and a half, which is like near unheard of in New York.
Yeah.
1.5 baths.
Yeah.
And we got that because originally, when I was still with my boyfriend, he was coming with us, and then when we broke up, I'd said to Jody, I was like, should I just downgrade us and save the money? And Jody was like, no, don't downgrade. Like, give yourself the space. Who cares? At this point, just suck it up. And my God, that was like the best advice because Harper's a teenager. She had her own space. Lulu and I slept in the bedroom together. We watched TV on our computer, and Harper watched TV and whatever. It was so nice.
We talked to this woman. We were at this. Honestly, I'm going to mention it because it was my favorite restaurant we went to. It's called Estia. It was like a Mediterranean restaurant. It's in Falmouth, and it was fantastic. It was one of those where the waiter comes over. I don't know about you guys. We talked about this on service, and I shared that podcast of Fan Addicts. Service is abysmal. People people just look at you and go, what do you want? I'm sorry, are you working here? It's shocking. People are so bad. This waiter came over, he goes, I'm going to make your night. And he did. He was so phenomenal. And we get there, and there's a woman at the next table over, a single woman, professional. And we're like kind of apologizing for the kid. She goes, please, I totally get it. And we talked to her for a while, and she gave us the greatest advice we'd heard in a long time because we had kind of hopped from house to house to house. And she said, here's what I do. We find a place, we stay there, and then we tell everyone where we are. And if you want to come visit us, you come visit us. We're not visiting you. We are going to get an Airbnb somewhere in the vicinity. We're going to give you details like a treasure map. You come visit us. You're not staying overnight. And then you go back. And I was like, that's what we're doing next time. Not that it wasn't great. We had so much fun in the family. Honestly, it was amazing. Everyone got along. It was wonderful. But it was so tiring. We went to 5 different locations, trudging our luggage. We had a rental car. We drove up the coast. And each of the days were great. But then you're like, we'd repack, get everything.
The repacking.
This is a train wreck.
The repacking is right.
Airbnb in a central location, then everybody comes to you.
Yeah. We used to, I still do this, although I didn't even bother this time around. I'd be like, this is the restaurant we're going to be at a Saturday night. We're going to be there from this time to this time and have dinner. And if you guys want to come and meet us and hang out, and I'd pick a restaurant. I knew that, we could get a bunch of tables and people could come in and out. And it wasn't a big deal. I'm like, you want to meet us? Come see us. If not, not. And I said I was going to do it this trip and they are in New York. And then I was like, never mind. and I didn't.
Dude, Dad, some servers are next level. We should send him the link, although it's almost at the end. I don't know. I don't know. If he wants to come in, we'll pop the Dude Dad in for a second.
Yeah, we gotta get him back on the show.
I know. He's off busy making shows.
Tyler, let us know when you have a free half an hour. We're just doing.
God, Taylor, come say hi.
Oh, did I say Tyler? Taylor or Tyler?
Tyler. He's the creator.
Tyler.
Dude.
Okay, sorry. I'm in the tub. Can you handle that?
I'm in the tub. Can you send him? Can you send him the link, Jason?
Yep.
Oh my God, amazing. Well, the Dodgers lost in case.
We'll get some good vacation stories because he's the king of like this. Some of the stuff he builds for those kids is insane.
Oh, I know. He's okay. So here's the problem I'm having with vacations right now, which is that because I live away from my family, every vacation that we take is either to go see my family or Dickie's family.
Yeah.
And so I said, like, I don't know, like I get jealous of, like, I don't know, like, who was it? Sarah's like, I served my husband a divorce at Disney World. Yeah. I'm like, oh, how cool to just even go to Disney World. Like, and I know I live by Disneyland, like in LA, but like, I don't know. I'm trying to like really figure out, like, all of my kids, like when somebody asks my kids, like, where did you guys go on vacation? They'd be like, we didn't. We just went to Downers Grove, Illinois, and saw my grandparents. Like, my kids haven't had like a vacation yet. I got to figure that out. What do we do?
You either set boundaries and you're like, hey, this time we're not going to see you guys if you want to make your way out to us at some point, because we're going to take the kids on an actual vacation. But also, if you wait long enough, a lot of family members will die.
Without further ado, the Dude Dad is here in the tub. Dude, by the way, I love that you're in the tub. I'm a tub guy.
I love a tub.
Me too.
Who doesn't like a good bath? Just a good soak. I'll tell you what. I played slow pitch softball today. So I need a good soak now. I don't even care that I'm sitting in my own filth. I'll take a shower afterwards if I have to.
I do.
Yep.
Good soak. Let the muscles relax. I'm rehydrating here. Usually I have an IPA, but I'm trying to cut back our carbs right now.
Sure.
I really appreciate that you watch our show in the nude. I think that means a lot to me. Thank you.
It's honestly the best way to catch it.
You just can't get offline ever, can you, man?
It's funny. I do our show in the nude. So
I don't have my pants.
That surprises no one.
Well, listen, brother, I don't know if you caught most of it. We are talking about vacations with children, and I feel like nobody does it better than you. You have all the crafts and the tools and your own little homemade gimmicks that you kind of put together. What's the tricks to vacationing with children?
Lower your expectations.
No, yes.
Yeah, but that's a real thing. Like, you can't expect to go do all the things that you want to do. You can't expect them to appreciate every single amazing thing that you allow them to experience, because they don't have the capacity to, and they don't have the energy or the emotional stability to. They're gonna get overwhelmed. But also, like, just because you spend $150 for everybody's ticket to Disneyland doesn't mean you have to stay there for 12 hours.
No, it actually does. I'm sorry, it does.
It's a legally binding contract.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Taylor goes to an open bar and has one drink. Come on, man. You got to get your money's worth out of that.
What are we doing here? What are we doing here today? Are we rich? Are we rich now? Okay, because it was okay. Okay.
Are you done?
No, I'm done.
Like, we took our kids camping last year at like a boat-in campsite, which was kind of a bad idea because like we had to like get on the boat and drive it to the campsite and then get everything off the boat and set it all up. And it was like 3 dads and 5 kids, and none of them were old enough to really help. So it was very exhausting. But then it was also like a big realization of like, oh, I have to reassess my expectations. This isn't going to be a trip where I get to just hang out with my boys and like watch the kids look at bugs. Like, they're too young to fully appreciate a trip like that.
Yeah.
We took my kids to the Cape Cod, and we wanted to do the beach, and we wanted to take them down and check out all these amazing sites down the Cape. They spent 3/4 of the whole weekend in a hammock with their 2 cousins, playing this insane game where they tried to spin that's all they broke the hammock twice. We had to keep replacing an S joint to
Yeah.
That's all they did. They played on the hammock. That's all they wanted to do. Like they just played it. And I was like, why? We could have just done this at home. What are we here for?
Well,
Yeah.
that's like when you buy them all the toys in Christmas and all they want is the box and the wrapping
Yeah.
paper.
Yes.
You're like,
Very
why
simple.
would I even bother with this? You know,
That's
not
like
that
when
I know it's Hanukkah for us. We just set everything on fire, so it doesn't even matter.
Well,
That's like when you go to Disney World and you spend $7,000 for y'all to go there, and they don't want to stay the whole 12 hours.
well, and that's the other part of it is like, I don't know that you have to go to Disneyland. You know,
No, I
like
know.
I'm gonna get real sappy here,
Yeah.
but like they just want your attention and like
Yeah.
take you out of their element and go somewhere new. You could
Yes.
go to a park, you know, that they have never been to.
Totally.
My 15-year-old would disagree with you, but
Yeah.
I take your point.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm
at
sorry, my
a
kids are
certain
much-
age, they stop doing that. They're like, no, we want to go
Yeah,
shopping.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
It's
different
like, let's
story.
do something, please.
What was vacation like when you were a kid, Taylor? When you were up in the Dakotas there, going
What was
crazy? What were you guys? What did you guys do for vacations?
We would pile into the extended cab pickup,
Mm.
and you know, there's no car seats or anything. We would drive for like 14 hours to go skiing in Wyoming.
Ooh. Jackson
I'd
Hole?
lay on the floor, no seatbelts. I'd lay on the floor, and my brother would get the seat because he was 2 years older.
Celia just told a very similar story.
And we would drive for 14 hours.
Yes.
And Dad, you know, mom and Dad had played like games with us as we drove. And actually, my parents would get up at like 1 a.m. and load us in the car and drive for 6 hours while we slept. And now I 1,000% remember, like, understand why.
Yeah.
That's how we do it when we travel. We travel at night because it's just way easier with the three kids.
Yeah.
Well, also you're vampires though too, Jason. I mean,
Also,
you can't be in the
trick
sun.
is, you can't use too much, but just a little chloroform, and then put them in the car, and then you get a few hours under your belt before they kind of start to ungrog it. Yeah, it's pretty great.
So I just took my daughter to Nebraska this last weekend with me to go see my brother and help him with his house or whatever. But I'm like, I'll take one kid with me, you know, help Heidi out. She can play with her cousins. So 7-hour car ride. She threw up 4 times.
Wow.
In the bag or just in the car?
No, in it we had a bag, and she's 4, and she was like, "Daddy, I feel sick." I'm like, "Here's a bag." She threw up in the bag every single time. Hit the bag. I never even stopped. She'd
Oh,
throw up
good.
in the bag.
Good.
I'd take it. I'd tie it in a knot. I'd set it on the floor. We kept going. We got there in like 6.5 hours.
So did she get car sick on the way back too, or no?
No, somebody, because I was like doing stories, and somebody's like, give her a little bit of children's Benadryl.
Oh, because also they make children's Dramamine now.
Dramamine, yeah.
Yeah, I
Dude,
gave her a Benadryl, and
you got to create like a doodad trough. It's like how Springsteen holds the harmonica in front of his face. You get one of those.
Just
and then you put it
Springsteen.
in a bag, and it kind of just if the kid jerks, it shoots up and fills, and then it's like a spring-loaded system. The whole thing.
It's like a reverse. It's a feed bag for horses, but it's a
Exactly.
reverse feed bag.
In reverse, yeah.
It's a vomitrough. Vomitrough.
Vomitrough.
Vomitroff.
Somebody make sure you copyright that right now.
And then
That's
you
perfect.
put a little kitty litter in the bottom of it, and then after she pukes, you just grab it and shake it.
Right. Soaks it right up.
That's
Perfect.
like the during COVID when we would travel places, I wouldn't go into bathrooms because I still didn't understand how the virus worked. So I bought a camping toilet, and that powder that you put in it's like what makes it congeal. Like so they actually have it. Like it makes your pee congeal. I didn't say it was a good story, guys. Yeah, there's like this.
I believe it's called flour, and it works with everything. It's pretty good.
What?
Oh, we were going to the woods. We'd like be driving out to we're gonna go see what's in Fillmore. We're gonna go see what's in this California city, and like we'd be in a city, and like the boys can pee anywhere. I can't. I need to have a sit.
Well, I 3D printed you that sheeness. I need to give it to you.
Yeah,
Actually, you know who can make this thing is Taylor. Yeah, we have a.
He could probably take my design and take it next level.
It's a sheeness.
It's
It's,
it's actually there is actually a thing. It's like a PPTP kind of thing, you know,
What you
that
need,
women
like a
can
funnel.
use.
It's a funnel that's like a tube that you just
So-
what you
fits
need
in the underbelly,
Yeah.
and then it comes out.
24-ounce Dasani water bottle.
Does it have an open mouth?
No, you're gonna cut off the back
Okay.
of it and kind of at an angle. Cut off the bottom of the Dasani water bottle at an angle.
Okay.
With structure to it. That'll give you a nice wide cup.
Okay, so
protect-
you're saying I need a Dasani water bottle and some scissors. Okay, you forgot that in the instructions.
Honestly, I'd probably use a utility knife.
Okay, utility knife. Great.
Hey, by the way, Sarah has the best name ever. She called it the Shiwi. That's actually really good, Sarah.
That's really good.
There really honestly is something that
Yeah.
women can use. Like
Yeah,
there honestly is. I'm
Yeah.
like thinking, I'm like Dasani water bottle. I mean, I'm sorry, but like whenever you got to give like a urine sample as a girl, like you even think you have it in the right place, you don't. I don't.
I didn't know I needed to go back so far.
I'm like, I didn't realize I was just gonna pee on my hand, but I guess I
Yeah,
am.
that's
Here
what's
Here
happening
we
now.
are. Like, I don't. You'd think we'd get it, but we don't get it.
We don't.
We didn't really have to practice aim.
No.
Sorry.
Well, you can just use a diaper. Use an adult diaper.
I have a friend who, when she gets her period, that's what she does. She just
Okay, I can't. That's too far. I can't.
Oh, Jamie.
I'm joking.
I told you guys about when I went hiking with James during the pandemic, or actually with both of my boys, and then I had to pee, and I didn't have the camping toilet, so I like kneeled over one of his diapers and just got out of the car. My knees were soaked. It just got. I mean, I was just.
Well, listen, I'm an old man. After I finish anyway, it all gets soaked. You can't. There's nothing you can do. It all just.
If you've never peed in a kid's diaper in your car, you're not a mom.
You're not a mom.
You're not a mom. If you've
I don't know.
never had to try to.
I guess I'm not a mom.
Taylor, has Heidi done that?
I'm just saying.
No, not yet.
You know what?
Not yet. Still early though, man.
You don't know yet. But by the way, here's another mom hack. Once your kids are out of diapers, if you have boys like I do, I still carry diapers in the car because when they do have to pee, I just open up the diaper and they can take and they just go right into it.
Wow.
What about that hack?
Well, that's
you get
Look
less
at you.
splash than a bottle too.
Or a Dasani bottle, but you need a utility knife too.
Well, you get less splash with the diaper than with the bottle because
Yeah.
you splash around.
See, this is when I'm like, I'm glad I had girls. This is too much information. I don't
Taylor, any other crazy vacation stories lately with the kids? I saw you water. I couldn't believe I saw you water skiing. Was it on a board with your son?
Wake surfing.
Wake surfing with your son on the same board. How did you get up?
So you use a rope to get up. You put your feet. You just let the board sit in the water like this, and you put your feet on top of it with the heels to the end, and you kind of push them down, and then the water, as you start to go, pushes the board against there, and then you just stand up.
But how did you get up with your son on it? He was on it with you, I thought.
Yeah, I just did the exact same thing with him, like basically on my chest, and then just
Oh my
stood
God.
right up with it.
I thought,
Wow.
he must have done it that way, but then I was like,
Yeah.
no, you could do that.
I got winded just hearing him tell about it.
You should have filmed it going. I didn't see the film of you going up. That would have been.
Yeah, I got it. I'll post it.
Taylor, did the internet destroy you over that?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
I don't think so. No, it was gorgeous. Oh, it was amazing. But it's not water skiing. It's a board, and his son was on with him.
No, but I'm just saying the
Yeah, it
internet's
looked pretty
a horrible
cool.
place. I'm not saying that Taylor did anything wrong. I'm saying that the internet is a horrible place
Well, the
where people
cool
will
thing about-
constantly tell you how to parent.
The cool thing about wake surfing is you only go like 11 miles an hour, so it's really slow. Like for comparison, if you wakeboard or water ski, you're going like 20,
Okay.
half the speed. And you're right next to the boat, so you can kind of like hang out with your buddies while you do it and stuff. But what I will say is, in terms of like vacation and stuff, like, if you don't have a boat, go rent a boat, go out on a boat with your family, or find somebody that owns a boat and go with them because they know how to do it. But like, you can be out all day with the kids on a boat. Nobody can.
Nobody can.
Nobody-
Why is this
He
kid
must have-
going?
He dropped the phone in the tub.
I think
Yeah.
he froze deliberately right on the, right at the end when you.
No, he's gonna be like, and they were
there he is.
quarantined
Oh,
for
yeah.
4 hours in a Starbucks. We're like, what?
No. But I mean, we put the whole family on the boat, and like the kids entertain themselves. Just like they just enjoy being on the boat. They play with each other. They hang out. We'll put them out on the tube a couple times or something.
Yeah.
But like, it's amazing because no one runs away.
Oh,
There's very little whining. We'll pull off in a cove and we'll just swim for a while.
Yeah.
Everybody gets extremely tired by the end of the day, and like you can kind of just hang out with the adults and the kids are doing their own thing, but you're all right there.
this is like a hypothetical, but what happens if like the mom gets really, really violently seasick all the time? Every time she's on a boat, like just a hypothetical. Like,
Hypothetically.
It's even better. She stays on land and she doesn't have to go on the boat.
oh, great. Okay, that's perfect.
That's your
Actually,
vacation.
that's my new vacation.
I don't know. Take a half of a Benadryl.
Take a half of it. Just take a little bit of Benadryl.
I'm with you, dude. Listen, everyone's like, we're going to Disneyland. We're doing this. I'm with you. I think the simple, like, it was funny. We went to the Cape and we went to go do all these things, and the kids were like, we just want to hang with our cousins. We played wiffle ball. We played on the hammock. We played bocce. We went swimming at the beach. We did all kinds of crazy stuff like that, and never really went out at all.
Yeah.
And it was just way better. It was really fun, actually.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sun down.
Yeah. All right. Hey, listen, I'm gonna let, because I know Taylor. I love you jumping in, man.
He needs
Honestly,
to rest.
it warms my heart.
Yeah, it's
dude.
like he's
So
probably pruny.
Yeah, it's
by
good to see you
now.
again.
You need a haircut. You're getting to be a hippie freak a little bit. Let's trim it.
I'm trying to grow it out right now. I do need to get it thinned out though, because it's too thick.
I mean, unbelievable. Just rude, Taylor.
Are you doing live shows coming up? Anything, or just everybody? Please, for the love of God, check out Taylor. He's for those of you who don't know, that's the dude, Dad. Dude, your videos, this stuff you're putting up is so great. So, I mean, we really love that you popped over to say hi. It means a lot.
I love anytime he plays Heidi. It's my favorite.
Honestly, I mean, it's scary in a like Anthony Perkins Psycho way, but I really enjoy a lot of it.
Well, at this point, she's made me go get my own clothes like her from Target because I kept stretching hers out.
Yeah, don't do that.
But, like level of weirdness that I have.
Yeah.
Actually, I like it better when she plays you. That makes me laugh harder, I think.
Yeah, I do.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
All right. Well, let's let Taylor go, and then we'll say goodbyes. Dude, I love you. Thank you so much. And well, I'll text you. We'll chat soon. But Taylor Kalmus, a.k.a. Dude Dad, popping in for a little visit. That was awesome. It's 8:38. I have got to wrap this beast. I know. This was super. And I love this assortment of the four of us. It was great. We had Sandy Danto on tonight, Kate Mulligan, Celia Behart, Dude Dad showed up. We got a ton of other people, actually. We've kind of been motivated lately to have other comics coming in, so we'll have a ton of people coming by. Anybody want to say their goodbyes?
Bye.
I mean, like, did you want us to sing like Sound of Music style, or like what were
I
we?
know everyone. We'll go out on Frozen.
Farewell.
Tonight.
Wait, well, so we'll be back Friday morning on Sirius XM with Larry the Cable Guy on the Fun Bunch, channel 97. Usually a little after 11 o'clock after the weather. We also will be coming October 14th and 15th to Sayre, Pennsylvania, to the Sayre Theater for the Parents Lounge Live stand-up comedy show. Tickets will go on sale in October.
And also check out Sia's other podcast, which they're still doing some.
Yeah, never thought I'd say this. We have an episode that I have to make sure goes up tonight. Will come out tomorrow at 6 a.m. And we've got, I think, 2 more after this week before we go on a hiatus for a little bit. But we have one coming out.
I love it. Great stuff. Thanks for everybody for joining us tonight. The comments, you guys made us laugh so hard. I love all the comments. So great. So thank you guys, and we'll catch you next week here in the Parents Lounge.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.